Dr. Shweta, working as a professor. Now I am going to welcome and introduce today's guest, Dr. Mamta. Production Management, Duwasu, Mathura. Dr. Mamta graduated BVSc and AH from Duwasu, Mathura and subsequently qualified for ICAR Junior Research Fellowship for the Master's Degree Program and completed her MVSc in LPM from the ICAR Indian Veterinary Research Institute, Ijjatnagar, Bareilly. Dr. Mamta later pursued her PhD in LPM from ICAR NDRI Karnal, Haryana in the year 2014 and was awarded ICAR Senior Research Fellowship during her PhD degree program. She started her career as an assistant professor on 9 July 2014 in the Department of LPM, College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, Duwasu, Mathura. Since then, she has been involved in teaching, research and extension activities in the field of LPM. She completed her PhD as in service in 2021. Her major area of research is animal welfare and ethology in livestock. She has supervised 2 MBA students as a major advisor and act as a member of the advisory committee of more than half a dozen MBSc students. She has been awarded with various awards by different organizations such as IPT Gold Medal, Best PhD Thesis Award, Excellence in Teaching Award, etc. Apart from academic activities, she has deep interest in literature also. Now I am honored to invite you, ma'am, to be the guest speaker at 21 Days Winter School on recent advances in astrology cum pasture and forest research for doubling crop and livestock production, and feel that your experiences in animal welfare would be a great benefit to our participants. With this topic, animal welfare and sentience, need for livestock farming. Thank you, ma'am. Please start.
Thank you, Dr. Shweta. Very good afternoon to all of you. Before starting, I'm sincerely thankful to Dr. Munind Kumar, who has letting me use his system, this facility for this presentation. Thank you, sir. So with this, the topic of my presentation today is going to be animal welfare and sentience, a need for livestock farming. So, since we always talk about livestock production, we focused on the production only. So, different aspects of production. See, it is well said, a happy cow is a productive cow. But when we talk about production, we always discuss the aspects which are from our interest side. Somewhere in this, the interests of animal have been ignored for long. So this topic, this welfare and sentience. So with this, I shall try to put the interest of animals before you. So, as I said, a happy cow is a productive cow. Animal contentment is definitely very well associated with the productivity. But sometimes the society could be so venal that their main focus is on maximizing profit and efficiency at the animal and not on the animal welfare. But at the same time, being a researcher, we are very well aware that it is not sustainable to consider profit alone as a goal in livestock farming. While saying sustainable, see, no system could be sustainable if some conditions are there. If this system involves depletion of resources, means the resources which are utilized by any production system, they are depleting, they are no longer available to the system, then how could be a system could be sustainable? Okay. Next reason, if the production system itself is producing an impact, such an impact which is again hampering the functioning of system, like if in case of animal farming, in case of intensive farming, the issues like environment pollution, greenhouse gas production, all these issues are some issues which are again hampering systems function. So a system could not be sustainable if such thing is there. And the third point, if a system could not be, any production system could not be sustainable if the members of the public find any activity involved in it as unacceptable. It would be sustainable so long so the public is finding it acceptable. But if the public itself finds it unacceptable, then such system could not be sustainable. So this is the third point on which our today's presentation shall be centered. Our talk shall be addressing this third point. Since it is no longer ethically acceptable to use animal in ways that compromise their health and welfare. From day by day, public is getting more aware about the welfare of animals, and that's why consideration of animal welfare, discussion of animal welfare becomes so important day to day. So before going to animal welfare, let me talk about something about sentience. So what is sentience? It is without knowing the sentience, we cannot proceed towards animal welfare, since sentience is an integral component of animal welfare. So what sentience is? It is nothing but the capacity or the ability of animal to feel, perceive, or experience subjectively. So it is feel, perceive, and experience subjectively. This capacity is sentience. Since animals they also have feelings and emotions, they are also sentience beings. A very famous quotation while advocating the rights of animals, famous quotation by Jeremy Bentham is, the question is not can they reason, nor can they talk, but can they suffer? This focus on their feelings and emotions. The sentience is the ability to feel emotions by animals. So while knowing about sentience is important, as I said, it is integral component of animal welfare, and wherever animal welfare is defined, the sentience terms is used there. Okay, and in laws also, where animal welfare laws are there, there also animal sentience has been utilized. So just going back to the history where the animal have been, when the animal have been considered sentience, because long back they were, it was considered that human beings were the highest of all creatures and animals were here on earth for our use only. Whatever care animals are getting is only based on the religious value. The many religions, almost all the religion teach us that we should care animals. So whatever care they are receiving is only based on their religious value. But scientifically, the sentience issue was first raised by Charles Darwin. He said that human and animals show very similar emotions. The difference between brain of human and animal is not of the kind but only in degree. Means they are also sentient beings, but emotions are same, but there may be variation in the degree, not in the kind of emotion. Okay. For a century, a field of animal called behaviorism flourished. This denied that animals had innate capacity for experiencing pain, suffering, and pleasure. So lately, in 1997, it was European Union was the first political entity to give legal recognition to the sentience of animals, okay, which later come into a treaty, later recognized itself in the Treaty of Lisbon, which said since animals are sentient beings, the European Commission and countries must pay full regard to the welfare requirement of animals. And following this, many countries also have recognized that animals are sentient beings. Apart from this, World Organization for Animal Health also recognized that animals are sentient beings, and all the members, they should respect their sentience. Because of the increasing public awareness and the pressure to focus on animal welfare, many food businesses also have recognized that animals are sentient beings, like KFC. You all are very well aware with KFC, and they also stated in their annual progress report that they believe chickens are sentient and they have the ability to suffer and feel pain, and are publicly committing to improving their welfare. So whatever philosophers say, science could not accept that as such. Science need evidence, and the evidence on sentience of animal come from these two kind of studies. One is neuroscience and other is behavioral science. Neuroscience, like in human, we are all very well aware with HPA axis, and with behavioral science means the behavior of animal, they move away from unpleasant stimuli. They tend to move away from whatever stimuli is unpleasant. The behavior they are showing, like their relation with familiar one, animals, they tend to be closer to the animals which are familiar to them rather than those are unfamiliar. So this kind of behavior shows that they have some sentience. Same way, maternal behavior. See, some animals like sheep, they tend to flee when they see any predators. But a mother, a newly parturited animal, tends to protect its newborn rather than fleeing away. So such kind of behavior, they are evidence that animals are sentient beings. So with this, the next question comes is, why should we be concerned about animal welfare? So concern about animal welfare is not only in the interest of animal, but also in the interest of human as well. Because animal and human interest, they are not separate entity. These two interests are at a common place because these two entities are sharing a common environment. So these are the reasons why we need to concern about animal welfare. The first and very obvious reason is ethical concern. Okay, because we feel that it is our duty to provide care for animal and protect them from harm. Because being the animal domesticated, their control, their feeding, breeding, everything is controlled under the human. So it is our duty to provide the required care to them. Another is human health and animal products quality concern, because good welfare will provide good product in production and products as well from the animal. We are very well aware that if we are not provide appropriate housing, appropriate management, there will be more transmission of diseases. If we are not following the standards while transporting animal, there will be more flare up of the diseases. Another issue is antimicrobial resistance. The use of antimicrobial in animals may lead to, or not may, but is obviously have led to resistance in humans also. Okay. Environment and biodiversity concern, animal welfare is seen as a part of package of concern about how we treat the planet. As I already said, animal and human, they are common, they are sharing a common environment. Okay. And another reason is trading and marketing of animal product, because animal welfare can be used as a marketing tool to leverage higher prices for animal products. So these are the reasons why we should be concerned about animal welfare. So coming to the animal welfare, so what are the areas of animal welfare? See, the ultimate aim of animal welfare is we should create condition where animal has a life that accords with their species specific capacity, and adaptation pattern condition where animal can be fulfilled and flourish. What I mean to say by this that areas of animal welfare can be categorized into these three things. First is biological functioning. It should ensure the proper biological functioning of the animal. Naturalness. It should, means, what do I mean by naturalness? That is, the condition in which animal live must match the condition where it is actually evolved. Means its natural housing, its natural habitat. And third area is feeling or emotions, which is primarily focused on what animals are experiencing. So these three are the major areas of animal welfare concern: biological functioning, naturalness, and feeling. So we understand animal welfare in three perspectives. So understanding of animal welfare in three perspectives. What are those three perspectives? First is welfare science. So what is welfare science? It considers the effect on the animal from the animal points of view. So this is a science which is from animal points of view. It basically deals with behavioral studies of the animal. I will later come in next slide. I will tell about the behavior ethology of animal. So welfare science is from an effect on animal from animal point of view. Next perspective is welfare ethics. It considers how human action towards animal means how we are treating animal, how we should treat animal. That all comes under welfare ethics. So it is ethics which tell us where to draw the line between what is acceptable and what is not. And the third perspective is welfare legislation. जब इन दोनों से बात ना बने तो तीसरी चीज पिक्चर में आती है, that is welfare legislation, which consider how human must treat animals. So where we are controlled by law, we must abide by law. So in there, this is the third perspective of animal welfare, that is welfare legislation. So the perspective of animal welfare, the first one was animal welfare science, which is directly related to ethology. What is ethology? Ethology is nothing but the study of animal behavior, what animal do, why they do, where they do. All these questions are addressed by this study of animal behavior, that is ethology. So the field of ethology was first formally established in late 1930s with the publication of first journal related to animal behavior in Germany. So it is very interesting to go into the history of ethology. That's why I have put some facts about ethology, some historical facts. And these are the scientists Konrad Lorenz, Van Frisch, and Nico Tinberger, who were awarded Nobel Prize in 1973. Out of these three, Konrad Lorenz is regarded as father of modern ethology. And what significant contribution he did was the discovery of phenomenon of imprinting. Imprinting is nothing but is formation of a close bond between a new
Hello, Hamida ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am? वो शायद फिर है नहीं, वो ऐसे कनेक्टेड होगा। स्लाइड पे था मैम। किस पे पहुंचे थे? Ethology पे ना? Hello, ma'am. Hello. नहीं, अभी नहीं हो रहा सर। अमिता मैम को ही किया था।
Hello, Mochita, can you say something?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mokshita Gupta.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am. Can you share your presentation?
Yeah, sure. I'm not allowed, ma'am.
Okay. Just check. Okay, now try. At the bottom of the screen, there is the fifth
Yeah,
icon present now. Click on that. Then click on the entire screen. Then click on the entire screen, which is sitting in the center.
Is that okay?
No, it's not coming. Yeah, it's coming now. Okay, perfectly fine. Ma'am, please continue. Mamta ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Sorry for the interruption. We have some electricity issues. That's why all this is coming up. So we
No
were
issue
here on
at all.
ecology. So I was.
No issue at all, ma'am. Please continue.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I was talking about these some historical facts about the evolution of this field of ethology. So I was talking about these famous scientists, and among them, Konrad Lorenz is regarded as father of modern ethology. So what he discovered was the phenomenon of imprinting, and imprinting is nothing but formation of a permanent close attachment during early postnatal life between the animal and its surrounding object, which is particularly its mother. So this kind of bond is called imprinting. Lawrence and Tinbergen, they together developed the ethogram. So what is ethogram? Ethogram is nothing but a graphical representation of all the behavior which are performed by an animal during 24 hours. So it is listing of all those activities performed by an animal during a day is called ethogram. So they first developed the ethogram, and von Frisch, he explained the waggle dance behavior of honey bee. So why we need to know about these behavioral studies? Because where these are applied in livestock farming, as you know, that application of behavioral knowledge, especially during handling and restraining, could help to reduce risk of injury to animal and human. The major conflict in domestication of animal comes between human and animal is by only the attacks, injury to human. So these are the issue. But if we have proper behavioral knowledge about the animal, then it would help us to reduce such risk. And this increase the efficiency of handling and ultimately improve productive and reproductive performance of the animal. So how could we recognize what is behavioral need of an animal? Which behavior is need to be expressed and which is not? So behavior actually, what are behavioral that are motivated by internal stimuli, they are behavioral needs, means those behavior which are stimulated from internally, those are the behavior which needs to be expressed. How we comes to know that which behavior is actually a need? So there are techniques to learn about behavioral needs. It can be learned about observation of a species under natural condition, because natural condition is the condition where the animal has been evolved. It is utilizing all the adaptation to cope up with those conditions. So the behavior expressed by animal in its natural condition is the behavior which is actually needed. So observation of a species under natural condition It helps us to learn about the behavioral need of the animal. Another is observation of overt behavior under structured or restricted condition. Then controlled behavioral deprivation followed by open field test and quantification of physiological responses, especially those responses that are indicative of stress to the animal. So these are the techniques by which we can come to know that what actually are the behavioral need for that particular animal. So behavior, there are two types of behavior. We know that one is normal and another is abnormal. So which behavior we will call normal behavior? So those behavioral elements and their sequences that are adaptive, that have evolved either during the evolution of the species or during its domestication in order to increase the fitness of the behaving animal. And the abnormal behavior, they can be classified into these different types. These are abnormal forms of behavior. First is redirected. Redirected behavior are those which are redirected toward group members. Means these are behavior, but in certain condition, they are directed towards other members of the flock or herd. Like feather picking in case of poultry is a kind of redirected behavior. Another abnormal behavior is stereotypical behavior. These are apparently functionless and repetitive kind of behavior which are having no external goal. These are animals keep on doing these behaviors, keep on expressing these behavior without any function. Like pacing in case of horses, bar biting in case of pigs. Another form of abnormal behavior is sham behavior. These are the behavior which are performed despite the absence of substrate to allow its proper execution. The example are nest building and dust bathing. So, like dust bathing, a poultry may be indicating dust bathing even in the absence of dust. Means substrate is not there, but animal is still performing that behavior. Such kind of behavior are sham behavior. Next is self-directed behavior. These are the behavior which are ultimately causing harm to the animal itself, like self-mutilation in case of horses. And another form of abnormal behavior is learned helplessness. That is failure to show a behavioral reaction to ongoing physical injury as a result of prolonged inability to control the environment. So there are two kinds of behavior, normal, and these are the forms of abnormal behavior. Moving forward, then what are the criteria for identifying abnormal behavior? How can we say that these behavior are abnormal? So to answer this question, we need to again ask some questions such as, is the behavior seen only in captivity, or the behavior is normal in its natural condition? So next question will be, is the behavior performed in inappropriate circumstances, in some unusual circumstances, or they are behaved in their normal circumstances also? And does the behavior involve self-injury? Does it affect social interaction in the group? Does it have any deleterious consequence on growth of the animal or on reproduction or any kind of performance of the animal? And last question is, does the behavior induce sign of distress in the animal or its companion? So if answer to all these questions is yes, then such kind of behavior is definitely an abnormal behavior. So with these concepts, now coming to the definition of animal welfare. So by this time, we have learned that animal welfare is something very synonymous to sentience of the animal. But what actually the definition of animal welfare is? So many definitions have been given by different sources. So I have compiled here only two definitions. One is which is given by Saunders Comprehensive Veterinary Dictionary, which state that animal welfare is the avoidance of abuse and exploitation of animals by human through appropriate standards of accommodation, feeding, general care, prevention, treatment of disease, assurance of freedom from harassment, unnecessary discomfort and pain. तो इतनी लंबी definition से this definition only highlight that highlight the needs. Which kind of needs? Physical needs of the animal, but this definition ignored the emotional needs of the animal. Nowhere we are getting any point regarding their behavioral needs. So today the most accepted definition of animal welfare is which is given by World Organization of Animal Health. And how it has defined animal welfare? According to OIE, animal welfare means how an animal is coping with the conditions in which it lives. An animal is said to be in a good state of welfare if it is healthy, comfortable, well-nourished, safe, able to express innate behavior. So see here, the behavioral point have been incorporated. Yes, able to express innate behavior, and if it is not suffering from unpleasant states such as pain, fear, and distress. So this definition includes the emotional state of animal. This is most accepted definition of animal welfare. But popularly what अगर नहीं भी जानते हैं तो हम animal welfare को जानते हैं 5 freedom के द्वारा. So we all are very well aware with 5 freedoms of animal welfare. The history of evolving these 5 freedoms is also very interesting, because in early 1970s, early 1960s, the intensive farming was growing in UK, and a book was written by Ruth Harrison, Factory Farming, okay, which raised the issues of animal welfare first. So UK government commissioned a committee, Bramble Committee was there, to investigate about these issues, and this committee later come up with certain recommendations for farming animals, and these recommendations were later taken the form of 5 freedom, which are popularly known as 5 freedoms of animal welfare, and these are followed by any welfare standards these days. So what are these 5 freedoms? Freedom from hunger, thirst, and malnutrition. That is, it is ensuring nutrition of the animal. And next freedom is freedom from thermal or physical stress. So this freedom addresses or asks about the housing and environment of the animal. Next freedom is freedom from disease or injury, health, directly addressing the health of the animal. Then freedom from fear, this address a gentle handling of the required by the animal. And last freedom is freedom to express most normal behavior of the animal. So these are the 5 freedoms of animal welfare. Animal welfare is sometimes confused with animal rights. दोनों ही एक सी बात करते हैं, but there is a difference between animal welfare and animal right. Animal welfare is a bit polite thing, and animal right is a very strict thing. This animal right, it strictly demand the abolition of any use of animals, including use of animal for food, clothes, anything. Anything means animal rightists, they say animal cannot be used for any benefit of human. They have their own life and let them be. Okay, so these are the questions of ethics. So I must say here 2 important and very popular theories of ethics. Like one is utilitarianism theory and another is deontological theory. This utilitarianism theory, it is a consequence-based of theory. Means all ends well, all well. Ant bhala to sab bhala. If and is well, all the means were good. So animal welfare follow this utilitarianism theory, whereas animal right is a duty-based ethical, depends on this duty-based ethical system, which is deontological theory. Means whatever is said is your duty, is keh diya so keh diya, like this kind of thing. So animal rights are form of deontological theory. So difference between an animal welfare and animal right. I need to explain them more. So first difference is definitely regarding their philosophy. Animal right is philosophically oppose the use of animal by human. A human cannot use animal in any means, whereas animal welfare, it philosophically consider that they do not oppose the use of animal by human. Rightist, they consider that using animal is morally wrong, and animal welfareist, they consider using animal is morally right. Benefit, rightist, they strictly say that we should not use animal to benefit us, whereas welfare, they say we can use animal to benefit us, interest. So animal writers, they say that we cannot overrule the interest of animals. The interests of animal are equally important as the interest of human, whereas welfare says the interests of human are more important than the interest of animal. Regarding pain, animal rightists, they believe we should not inflict any kind of pain or death on animal for any reason, whereas welfare consider that we should not cause unnecessary pain or death to the animal. So there is a difference. They say no, do not inflict any kind of pain, and here it is said that it is considered that we should not inflict unnecessary pain or death to the animal. Means we can use animal for our benefit, but we should not inflict unnecessary pain to the animal. And regarding humane treatment, animal writers, they believe we should treat animal humanely, whereas animal welfare, it consider we should animals humanely as convenient to us. So we may say that animal welfare is it finds convenience in using animals. So coming to animal welfare in commercial livestock farming. So actually, considering animal welfare, we should provide a facility which fits to the animal. But contrary to this, what we do, we make facility and try the animal to fit into that facility. So this is in contrast to the animal welfare. And with increasing automation, it is said the bond of compassion between human and animal is somewhat getting more breaking day by day. So the issues in commercial farming related with different management practices are these. First, related with calf, the issues arises with identification, which method we are applying. Means these issues are which method, procedure, training of the personnel, skill of the person, timing. What are the timing of doing these, practicing these management options? So these are the issues. So issues with calf are identification in their disbudding and dehorning, weaning, removal of supranumerary teat, and castration. So when we are performing these practices, how much the handler or the person is skilled with. So all these things affect the welfare of calf. Regarding milking, method of milking, which method we are following, like stripping, full hand milking, knuckling, because knuckling should not be followed. So if knuckling is being done, then it is compromising the welfare of animal. Drying of cow. So for drying of, again, which procedure we are following? Are we following abrupt cessation for a high yielder? That again causing welfare compromise in animals. So milking, again, milking with, if we are performing milking with machine, then also we need to take care about the changing of liner of the machine, adequate pressure of the machine. These needs to be checked time to time. Issue with housing, which are seen, are flooring and bedding, exercising and locomotion, and ultimately lameness in the animals. And if there is compromise in nutrition, it may be seen as ketosis, milk fever, and human acidosis. In case of breeding, the issues comes up with minimizing level of inbreeding, maintenance of breeding bull, and optimum breeding policies. So these are the issues which are seen in commercial livestock farming. So to address the welfare, or to address the welfare in commercial farming, first thing is, it is very well said that you cannot manage what you cannot measure. So we need to measure the welfare at a farm. So what are the measurable domains at a farm are nutrition, environment, which is mainly housing and other facilities, health and behavior of the animal. The mental state of animal, it can be assessed through thirst, pain, nausea, hunger, dizziness, sickness. All these are the signs which indicates the mental state of the animal, and these need to assess the animal welfare at a farm. So assessing welfare assessment is based on these three things. It can be resource based, management based, and animal based. So assessment of welfare can be done, what resources we are providing, what facilities we are providing to the animal, and on the other extreme, it is animal based, means how animal are seen physically. So they are also expressing their welfare status. And in between is management. Management means it is reflected by records, reflected by day-to-day inspection. So these are the three aspects of welfare assessment. So based on this, we have welfare principles and welfare criteria to assess the status of animal welfare at a unit. Okay, so the welfare principles, there are 4 welfare principles: good feeding, housing, health, and behavior. So first is good feeding. What are the criteria? Criteria are absence of prolonged hunger and malnutrition, which is assessed through body condition scoring of the animal. Another criteria is absence of prolonged thirst, which is assessed by a tendency of animal to assess the water resources and dehydration status of the animal. Another principle is good housing. The criteria are comfort and resting, means how comfortably an animal is resting in the area provided to it, which depends on the cleanliness, time needed to lie down, absence of pressure source, number of animals colliding with housing equipment during lying down, and animal lying completely or partially outside the lying area. Another criteria is thermal comfort, which is assessed through panting by the animal, huddling tendency of the animal. Ease of movement criteria is assessed through indices of slipping and falling down of the animal. Another principle is good health, which is the criteria measured are absence of injury, absence of disease, and absence of pain induced by management procedures. So these are the criteria, how they are assessed, how they are measured. The last principle is appropriate behavior, which is assessed through expression of social and other behavior of animal, behaviors like aggression, butting, sexual behavior expressed by the animal, good animal-human relationship, which is assessed through avoidance distance test, positive emotional state, which is assessed through novel object test. This is how we can assess the welfare at a farm. So after assessing, next thing comes is implementation. So how implementing animal welfare assessment, it can be implemented through training and auditing, animal welfare inspection, benchmarking, and enforcement. So based on this, we need to develop, and still there are standards, animal welfare standards, and animal welfare standards are of 3 types. They may be optimal, minimal, or absolute. So this point I want to focus that how we can improve human-animal relationship. So improving of human-animal relationship, for this we must know there are 2 key factors to improve this relationship. One is predictability, another is controllability.
Predictability means animal must know what is going to happen next. So animal should have idea. No practice should be abrupt. If it is predictable to the animal, then animal will go easy. So for giving predictability, we need to give structure to the day. So with all this, we should learn what are the good handling practices for animal. So first is, as I said, they are comfortable, they are in good welfare if the day routine is predictable. That can be achieved by maintaining the routine practices in a routine manner. So see, this is the ethogram. These are the activities which animal perform in a day, and these are the time devoted to those activities. So animal have a tendency to devote this time in these different activities, and if we do not disturb their time schedule, they will be in a state of comfort. So we should ensure that we should follow all the practices in a routine manner. Allow the cow to learn any change gradual, and if anything is to be changed, that should be in a gradual manner. Use positive interaction with the animal. Okay. So this positive interaction is a very effective thing. If we develop positive interaction with animal, then we can handle, we can restrain animal in much easier way from animal point of view as well as from handler's point of view. Reduce excessive voice, avoid staring of cow for long hours. Animal is a sentient being. Ab tak to hum jaan hi gaye hain. Animal is a sentient being, and they are very well, they can very well interpret the expression of humans also. So voice and staring, this should be, continuous staring should be avoided, and voice should be very gentle. Move cow by working at the edge of their flight zone. This flight zone I shall discuss in my next slide also. Avoid painful procedure, especially in milking parlor. Move the animals in group rather than individually. So this flight zone, this is an important concept in handling of the animal. So what is flight zone? It is the circle of safety around the animal. It is the animal's personal space, and understanding of flight zone can reduce stress and help prevent accident to the handler. So flight zone is an area around the animal in which it feels safe. So the size of flight zone vary with different animal, and it depends upon tameness or wildness of the animal. It has found that in extensively raised animal, it is around 50 meter, and for a feedlot cattle, it is only 2 to 8 meter. If animal is receiving frequent gentle handling, then its flight zone could be reduced. That means a human can come close to the animal. And extremely tamed animals are often difficult to drive because they no longer have flight zone, and these animals should be led with a feed bucket or halt. When a person penetrates flight zone, the animal moves away, and approaching animal head-on will increase flight zone. If the handler penetrates flight zone too deeply, then animal will tend to bolt up. So the best place for a person to work is on the edge of the flight zone. This is the recommended space where a person should work with the animal. An animal is best driven when handler is situated around 45 to 60 degree angle from the line of point of balance. What is point of balance? Point of balance is nothing but is a line through the shoulder of the animal is point of balance. And if a person goes behind this line, animal will move forward. If a person goes forward to this line, then animal will move backward. So these concepts must be, one must be aware with these concepts for proper handling of the animal. So this is my last slide. I would not say my conclusive slide, but I will say a few remarks about animal welfare. That animal welfare is a continuum rather than an absolute value. There is no absolute value for animal welfare. It can range from very good to very poor and all the states in between. So to implement animal welfare, so what we could do is advice and recommendations regarding animal welfare. We can have animal keeper training program. All the practices in between we talked about involved in commercial farming. The person, the handler, that must be well trained about those practices to minimize unnecessary pain and suffering to the animal. Welfare-friendly selection criteria for future breeding program of the animal, and lastly, legislation and penalties. So with this, thank you. Thank you everyone for listening me patiently. If anyone have any question, I can answer. Am I audible? Someone hearing me?
Thank you, ma'am. Participants, if you have any questions, please ask.
I think no one is having